How do you do? Welcome to Rauta's Black Metal Review. This time what we have here is a kind of interesting case in so many ways. Let's start with the band Thokkian Vortex. The second album is right here. It's called Thy Throne is Mine. Very old English type of a name. Unfortunately also very much like Thigh whatever being used since 1990s. Now this is actually kind of a throwback album in so many ways, showing you all the way back to Norwegian circa 1995 or 1997. Anyway, kind of a mid and late 90s of Norwegian style. And the reason is this actually. This is Lord Kutha's own project after he left the band called Ancient, which is still very much active. And this is the band he created in 2006. And later on it would actually create a full-length album, and now it's time for another album. So let's take a look at the Metal Archives site here. As you can see, this is United States-based band, or was more or less founded there, later on relocated to Israel. Oh, what a weird thing to do. Not only that, but if you take a look at this members list and start opening these individual members, they're all from, almost everybody is from different countries. There are a couple of members from Italy and so forth, and one of these earlier American, now Israeli citizen and all that stuff. So it's kind of an international lineup. But it's mostly Lord Kutha, who, as you can see, pretty much did all the instruments in the beginning, and also keyboards and some of the drums, most of the drums, and also vocals and stuff like that. So the other members are rather recent, rather new to that band, more or less. So operating almost 10 years without other members, it seems. Not other members, but the current lineup, that is. Here you can see the previous members, actually. And as you can see, this is the second album. Now, it took quite a few years, actually. If you take a look at this discography, it took 10 years to do the debut album. Then another 4 years, and here we are. Personally, I don't remember listening to or hearing the first album, Into the Nagual, so I cannot really compare this one to the earlier works, but that it is how it is. And as you can see, here are some links, like for example the Bandcamp and Facebook and homepage sites. So in case you want to give the music listen, here's the first album. And here on their band's own website you can find more information. As you can see, this is pretty fast to open. So let's not waste on that. You can pretty much do it. Yeah, but here it is. You can hear the newer material as well as some of the older news. But anyway, Thy Throne is Mine is an album that is, in a good ways, it's an old Norwegian sound, and it's also in the bad ways. 45 minutes, so very like a doable length for this kind of music that is mostly mid-tempo black metal. Now this is a curious thing because some of the tracks are really nice. There's actually one track that is just killer material. I mean, if the rest of the album material would be like that, this could be very well among the best albums of the year. And that is the title track called Thy Throne is Mine. Very Satyricon-like track, which is kind of a, not exactly the most modern Satyricon, but not the either, you know, those couple of first 2 or 3 albums. But the kind of a Satyricon style that started to create this more of a modern, very cold sound and very evil kind of a vocals. I really like the vocals here. They're so grim in so many ways. One of the best vocalists I've heard in many years, I could say. Unfortunately, the rest of the album is not on par with that. Now, the later we go, the weirder it starts to go. One of these annoying tracks, actually, I'm not going to say it's mediocre because it's actually quite an annoying track, is this Winter Forest Cry, which is made with kind of annoying synth patterns which are just repeated to the level of annoyance. And I feel like, why do you include such a track here? Because it's really weak track. It's not mediocre track, it's just weak. It's plain weak and annoying as well. Now, curiously enough, there's a interesting cover, you know, Come to the Sabbat, which you might have heard already covered by some other bands, and that is a Black Widow cover from 1970, if I'm not mistaken, the year. Anyways, it's curious, it's very different, it's kind of a folky, it's kind of a goofy, it's kind of a weird, and I kind of like that they have not been afraid to do this kind of a cover. Unfortunately, it doesn't really fit the album and as such, it's also kind of a weird place here. It is something that could have used as a bonus track on some other album, but I mean, it's nice that they do actually cover of non-black metal song, but still I feel like this is in a weird place. And the last track is more like, okay, why didn't you already finish it? This adds nothing to you. So the thing here is, some tracks are actually quite nice, like maybe the 3, 4 first albums, tracks, sorry. But then it starts to decline, and it starts to decline so quickly, it becomes very mediocre at first and then kind of annoying, which results, in my opinion, kind of a mediocre outcome. Because I mean, if you have good tracks and you have bad tracks and the rest are somewhere in the middle, the rest is kind of a mediocre. And I didn't find this album enjoyable at all, except for the couple of tracks in the beginning. And as such, this is kind of a weird, because it's almost like a compilation of not only one band, but of different styles. And it seems like there's no plot where, you would just go and figure out where to go next and all that stuff. It seems like this is just like random tracks put all together. Okay, let's get it out. We've been doing this for 4 years already, so let's get it out. And it's like more like, okay, guys, do you have any clue what you're doing? You have some good stuff, and then really some stuff that shouldn't be there. And the thing here is, the production is actually good, and the drums are interesting as well. The vocals are just great, but some of the tracks are like, oh, why? And not only that, but those keyboard parts. I mean, Lord Kaifas is too much in love with his own keyboards, and most of them are just not annoying, but they're useless. They don't bring any value on the album, in my opinion. They're more like you're just putting them there so you can justify yourself having a few synths. So in my opinion, without them, this might be even better. The overall feeling is that I basically wasted a few hours with this album. It's almost everything on this album as a whole is annoying, because it feels like I've been betrayed after those couple of good tracks in the beginning. But once again, I want to say, there's nothing wrong with the production. The vocals are great, but you cannot make albums with those ingredients. You need some cool riffs. You need some good songwriting, and you need to get rid of those tracks that ruin your album. So can't really recommend this to anybody unless you're Lord Kaifas fan and you just worship everything he does. So kind of a bad album, but the result must be called more like mediocre-ish because of some of the good parts. With that information, dig it up if you need to. Bandcamp site doesn't have, but it might be on the label Bandcamp or whatever. I just can't be arsed to do all the Googling work, because this is not as good as it could be. Without that information, do what you need to do, and see you with comments and questions. Until next time, bye-bye.